Okay. So in the last session, we were discussing about Oracle Fusion architecture, and we discussed about what are the middleware components we have, how those will help in the application process or integrations and other aspects. Now we have to talk about databases. Okay. So when you talk about databases, we have Oracle database and Space database as a part of Fusion solution, and we'll try to understand what is the purpose of these two databases. See here, say when you record the any transaction or any setups, when you perform any setup or transaction through Fusion applications, the data will get stored in Oracle database. Okay, so when you do any configuration or any transactional data, that will get stored in the Oracle database. So along with that, we have a space database also. Okay, a space database. What is the purpose of a space database? The purpose is the space database purpose is basically for reporting. So in Fusion we have reporting called as FRS, Financial Reporting Studio. Okay, and along with that we have Smart View. We know in EBS in GL we have financial statement generator, FSG. We have FSG in EBS GL. Now this FSG got replaced with FRS. Now in Fusion applications as a part of GL, we don't have any FSG feature. So you can see in GL for reporting purpose FRS. FRS stands for Financial Reporting Studio. Okay, along with that we have Smart View also. So along with that function. So from where this FRS and Smart View Oracle taken this solution from Hyperion product. Within the Hyperion product, the specific solution name is Hyperion Financial Reporting. Okay, so this Hyperion Financial Reporting, the solution they taken as a part of Fusion GL. As per Hyperion Financial Reporting, if you want to generate any reports, data should be available in Space database. That means Hyperion product. Okay, so if you are going to use Hyperion product, all the Hyperion related data can be stored only in the Space database. When you talk about Space database, in the Space you don't find any tables. In Space, you'll be finding the cubes. When you talk about Oracle database, within the Oracle database you can find tables, relational tables. So, but when I talk about a space database, within the space database, data will be stored in the form of cubes. Here we call as multi-dimensional cubes. Okay, multi-dimensional cubes. That's how data can be stored in the space database. So why Hyperion uses a space database? A space database. So data can within the space database, data can be stored in the multi-dimensional cubes, which will support very faster reporting. So that is the reason we have a space database. Now what Oracle it is? The Hyperion Financial Reporting solution they taken as a part of Fusion GL application. Okay, with these features FRS, Financial Reporting Studio, and Smart View. Okay, so because of the reason in Fusion also we have a space database. So how this will get connected and how it will work? Say for example, you have some transactions. Whenever you have the transaction or any setup data, that will get stored in the Oracle database. And from Oracle database, So whenever you create your primary ledger definitions will sync from Oracle database to Sbase database. So we are not discussing all the data goes to Sbase database from Oracle database. So only your primary ledger related data. Okay, only your primary ledger related data will sync from Oracle database to Sbase database. So whenever you have a journal in GL, the data will flow to Sbase database. So when data is available in the Sbase database, which is coming from Oracle database, based on the Sbase database information, you'll be able to prepare the reports. We know in EBS also, when you talk about uh, financial statement generator FSZ, so FSZ we can use within the GL. In the same way, FRS also you can use only in the GL. Whatever the data is available in the GL, against the data only you can prepare the FSZ reports. In Fusion also, whatever the data is available as a part of GL, that too the GL data will get stored in the SBS database. Against that data only you can prepare the FRS reports. Okay, so say for example you created primary ledger. After creating the primary ledger, we have a separate task called as submitting primary ledger information to Sbase database. Okay, so it's all about completing the primary ledger. We know in EBS after creating the primary ledger, we complete the primary ledger. In the same way, in Fusion also, once you complete the primary ledger, automatically the primary ledger definition will get submitted to Sbase database. Say you created 10 journals in GL, or else 10 journals are flowing from subledger to GL. The moment you post those journals, the data will get submitted to Sbase database, so that the data would be available in the space for these reporting. Okay, not only for this, even for planning and budgeting also we use Sbase database only in the Fusion. Okay, for planning and budgeting, Hyperion planning and budgeting. Okay, for that purpose also you can use, okay, Sbase only. So what are the uh, planning and budgeting definitions you do in the Fusion application? The data would get stored in the Sbase database only. Okay, so that is the reason we have two databases. So transactional data will get stored here only reporting purpose, that to GL related data, not subledger data. If you create invoice and payables, the invoice data will get stored in the invoice tables only in payables. But against that invoice, whatever the GL journal you create, that will, when you submit to GL, it will comes to Oracle database only GL schema. And whenever you post in the GL, that information for which account in which period how much amount is getting updated, that goes to Sbase database. Here Oracle database you can consider as a transactional data. I mean within this we can store the transactional data. When you talk about Sbase, here we can store the data in the form of balances. Okay, the multi-dimensional cubes you can have. Here you can store the data in the form of balances, so that we can use in this reporting aspects. So this is a point we have to understand when you talk about why we have two databases in Fusion applications. So remember, we are not going to record any transaction directly in the Sbase database. We'll record that what are the transactions or what are the setups we do through Fusion application, any one of the application, the data will get stored in the Oracle database. Only primary ledger information, primary ledger definition can be submitted from Oracle database to Sbase database. Once you start posting the journals in Oracle database as a part of GL, only GL journal information related balances data will sync with Sbase for this reporting purpose. Any questions on this point, please?
Hi. So the whether the during installation of GL, whether the customer likes it or not, S-based database and Hyperion financial reporting are compulsory and they are part of the basic installation, is it?
No, no, no. It's a mandatory. It's a mandatory.
Okay.
So there is no option where you can ignore space database installation that comes with along as a standard solution.
Okay. And this, when you said primary ledger, it includes GL, FA, and what all modules come under that?
No, 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 it's just I'm talking about primary ledger. I'm not talking about the primary ledger level, what modules we can map. I'm not talking about that enterprise structure or multi-arc structure level, just primary ledger. See, whatever the data you submit to primary ledger from other applications, all the data it goes to SBase.
Okay, the in GL, the primary ledger. Okay, got it.
Yes, in GL we have a primary ledger, right? So what are the data you send from AP to primary ledger? When you say GL, it's a primary ledger, right? So primary ledger, we have a primary ledger definition which can be done at GL level. When you talk about level also, yes, primary ledger level only we can map. Primary ledger level only we can map the GL. So we send the data from AP to primary ledger, AR to primary ledger, FA to primary ledger, PO, OM from many other applications. We send the data here. So once data will comes to this GL, instead of calling it as G primary ledger, call as GL. Nothing wrong. Whatever the data will come to GL, the data will sync with S-based database.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Thanks. So any other questions here, please?
Why, like, once the data is moved from Oracle database to SBase, would it still be there in Oracle database?
Yes, yes, yes. So here we'll have a transactional
Okay.
data. So you created 100 transactions. 100 transactions are pointing to say 5 accounts. Okay. So in which period, for which account, how much balances we have, those balances related information only primarily will be submitted to SPSS database. Summary information, which is required for reporting. Again, from SBase to Oracle database, drill down option also available to look at detailed transactions. Okay, note that point. From SBase database to Oracle database, we have a drill down option. So, for example, we have transactions here. Transaction 1, transaction 2, 3, 4, 5. So 6 transactions we have. The 6 transactions are pointing only one account for a same company, same account in the same period. So each transaction, say for $1 lakh. Now system will be submitting 6 lakhs here. Okay. So when you click on this, now the balances we have for specific account in the particular period in the space. So whenever you click on the 6 lakhs, and it will drill down to Oracle database, and 6 lakhs belongs to which transaction it will display. Okay, that's how drill down also possible from SBase related data to Oracle database related transactional data, which is a detailed information.
Okay, we have in Oracle database these ledger tables, right? So,
Yes, yes.
do we still have them
Yes, we have
in
everything
Fusion
as
Source?
is. Everything we have as this, and SBase database we have as an additional component for Hyperion reporting. If you want to use the feature called as Hyperion reporting feature supports if data is available in the SBase. That is the reason they brought this SBase concept into Fusion. Without SBase, Hyperion
Okay.
products you cannot use.
So suppose I'm not using Hyperion, and still I will have to load the SBase database.
Yes, if you are using the Fusion GL, space comes automatically along with the product as a part of GL. You may not use it intentionally. You even if that is coming as a feature of FRS and the GL, you may not use it. Okay, still it will come. Okay, it's a part of a standard product solution.
Say supposing there is a requirement to build a custom BI report, and for that the developer can choose either of the database, like for the custom BI you can choose Oracle database or SBase database, or SBase is
Space
dedicated
not
only to Hyperion.
No, yeah, space only for Hyperion related. BI and all, no. BI and all Oracle database only can be used. Now in the Fusion, the BI reporting and OTBI reporting, we have availability in all the applications. Okay, S-base only
So
for Hyperion product related area. That's it.
Okay, so any BI report custom build will be connecting to the Oracle database.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. So any other questions here, please? Okay, fine. These are the points we have to.
And balances still available on Oracle database as well, posted balances.
Yes.
Through OTBI.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Only that everything will get stored in the Oracle database only. Only summarized balances will sync with the S-based database for the summary reporting or multi-dimensional reporting. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Fine. Okay. At the time of when we just complete our primary ledger definition, system will be triggering some programs also. We'll see that. So that is automation. We don't need to do any manual activity. So we'll talk about that when we come across that event. Okay. So if any other questions here, please. Otherwise, just we'll move on to next topic, that is enterprise structure. Any questions here, please? Okay. So in the last session, we discussed about this middleware components, and this is all about what we discussed. Fusion architecture, we have fusion applications and databases, and in between we have middleware to manage these applications, integrations, and any sort of developments. Okay. So any questions on this fusion architecture, please? Here, these are the points we discussed. Fine, no questions. Now we'll move on to next topic, that is enterprise structure. So when you talk about EBS, in EBS, what are the environment we create based on the client business, how they are managing their business, that we call as multi-org structure. Multi-org structure. Multi-org structure is nothing but multiple organization structure. So when you look at multi-org structure, typically on top we'll have BG, right? Business group. So business group, under business group we'll have as a hierarchy, standard hierarchy, primary ledger. Under primary ledger we'll have legal entity, right? LE. Under legal entity, operating unit. Here I'm not just going with a kind of hierarchy, one by one I'm writing. That's how that normal actual hierarchy will works, right? So OU, operating unit. Under operating unit we can have inventory organization. Okay, so this is how you can have a multi-org structure. So you may represent with this, which will be under that, but not required. We know, just that's the reason I'm not putting all these points. So this is when you look at EBS multi-org structure, this is how we can see. When I talk about versions within EBS, in case of 11i here, instead of primary ledger, we have a set of books. From release 12, the name they changed to primary ledger, right? So now in Fusion, the same multi-org structure we are calling as enterprise structure. Okay, we are calling as enterprise structure. So when you talk about Fusion enterprise structure, how that is similar or different compared to EBS multi-org structure, we'll see now. Okay, as a part of enterprise structure in the Fusion, we have on top enterprise. Okay, just let me list out those points, then we'll start discussing one by one. Okay, on top we'll have an enterprise. Under enterprise we can have a divisions. Under divisions we can have primary ledger. Under primary ledger, legal entity. Under legal entity we can have business units. Business unit. Under business unit, inventory organization. Okay, So this is how you can see the enterprise structure in Fusion applications. Okay. So we have a business group concept in EBS. What is the purpose of business group? It's all about to address the specific country HR related information. Okay, for if you are going to do the implementation for multiple countries, we have a two option. One is you can create for each country separate business group to maintain the country specific employees information by following the payrolls and other information also, or else for multiple countries you can have a solution as a one business group. The point here is we can create multiple business groups. When it comes to Fusion, okay, here we have enterprise. Okay, here we have a enterprise. Enterprise is not equal to business group in the EBS. So in Fusion applications, for one instance you can have only one enterprise. One instance, within one instance you can have only one enterprise. Just it will be pointing which organization is going to use this instance. And here instance enterprise level you can set default HCM information. Okay, human capital management, that is related to primarily HR as well as payroll and other areas of HCM. Just you can set the defaults. But here the enterprise you are not going to define country specific. Just the default information will be providing. So however we create the business units country specific, those definitions you can do in the Fusion applications also with the concept called as separate HR organizations, and we have a LDGs, legislative data groups, which are part of HCM solution. Okay, so the point here is for one instance you can have only one enterprise. Okay, the enterprise is not going to decide the solution for the countries. The enterprise setup level, we can specify the default information, okay, which is required for your HCM solution. In the enterprise level only you can specify how employee number need to be generated and the jobs, positions, the other details also, the salary related assignments, all you can set up here. But when you define the solution for a specific country, that level you will be able to override. And one more point, the enterprise is the default definition, it comes along with the fresh environment. In the fresh environment also you can see the default enterprise. However, you can see in EBS also default business group. Okay, similar to that here you can see the enterprise. In EBS, if you see default business group, you can just go and edit the name and you can complete the definition, or else we can create our own business group. We can create the new business group. But in the Fusion, whatever Oracle provides as a default enterprise, that only you have to go and change the name, and you have to set all the preferences how you may require very high level as a defaults. That's how we have to manage with enterprise information. We cannot create new enterprise, only one can be possible in one instance. That too Oracle provides as a default. As per our requirement we can do the required changes. Okay, that is a point we have to understand. And country specific solutions can be created with HR organizations and LDG, legislative data group, which will be pointing specific country payroll, and prior to that organizations can be defined for to maintain the HR data as well as to connect with the payroll processes also. So just any question on this point, please? Any questions from anyone? Any questions, please? Fine, just we'll continue. We'll see if any questions. Okay. Other enterprise unit is divisions. Okay. So here whatever we are discussing, these all are mandatory except divisions. Okay. Out of this entire enterprise structure, divisions are optional. Okay. So what does it mean by division here? It may be like you might be running the business across the multiple countries or maybe within the country. So you can use the divisions concept. We can use the divisions concept, but there will be added advantage if you use the division as a part of enterprise structure. If you are going to use division as a segment within your chart of accounts, if you are going to use the division as a chart of accounts, you can use division within the enterprise structure, which will represent your enterprise, how that hierarchy is built, how the structure is managed for your enterprise. Okay, here the simple example you can take. Say you are running the different businesses. You are running different vertical of businesses. Say your company, your client is into IT services and say automobiles. Okay, and some other like some say BPO services. So this is how say they are into different vertical of businesses. So in that case, you may use division as a one of the enterprise structure unit. So here you can, if you go with this example, you can take these three as a three divisions, three verticals or three line of businesses you can take as a three divisions. Okay, is it mandatory or not to take as a, these three as a divisions? May not be required. So that is the reason they given as a optional. Division definition is optional. You may have a LOB, line of business, if required as a part of chart of accounts, and you can maintain. So even if you are maintaining the same, if you want to represent at a division level, so as a part of enterprise structure, you can maintain, so that when we are going to use these hierarchies in the projects or different areas or HCM solutions, it's in those areas. So to build the hierarchy and the reporting, the kind of any information related reporting or any other level of reporting when you talk about projects and all, so expenditure related reporting or any other invoicing related reporting, in those aspects this may be useful. So what division we may use when we use division as one of the segment in the chart of accounts. If you are not going to use division as a chart of account segment, there won't be any great advantage if you are going to use division as a part of your enterprise structure. So this is one of the example you can take as a division. The different vertical of businesses you can take as a different divisions. If not vertical of businesses, if you are running the business across the globe, you can just the geography base you can take as a division. Say you may take APAC as a one division, AME as a one division. Okay, this is how just you can segregate. Okay, the geographical area where you are operating the businesses, those you can take as a divisions. Okay, there are many possibilities how you want to segregate and how you want to name them as divisions, depending on the requirement. You can say in the most of the implementations projects, we don't see division as a part of enterprise structure. Division you may have as a at if required you can have in the level of chart of accounts, but enterprise level normally it's not required. But if there is any need of maintaining the divisions, which can be useful in the hierarchy definitions for the different areas of the business processes, we may use the division concept. Okay, and primary ledger is same as EBS. Okay, to record accounting related information, we use the primary ledger. In the same way, legal entities, what are the entities we have with the registration, all will maintain as a legal entity. And EBS operating unit we have as a business unit. Just they change the name as a business unit, but in the fusion environment, how we create the business unit and what are the other additional points we have to understand, we'll go through it. In EBS case, the definition is slightly different compared to fusion. Anyway, now going forward, we'll see how to create the business unit, what is the meaning of business unit, business functions, how those are different from EBS. Okay, there are certain new points to understand when you talk about business unit in the fusion environment. We'll go through it. As of now, as a part of definition or concept, so the EBS operating unit we are going to have in fusion as a business unit. Just take this point, how it works, how we define, how we can control that business unit related information or set up data, certain privileges. everything we are going to see in Fusion as a part of Fusion. And EBS inventory organization we have the same as it is in Fusion, but then from which application we can create those slightly they change, those also will be discussing before we go and create the inventory organization. Okay, so this is what we have to understand. And the top level will have enterprise. Under enterprise you can have a division you can just treat as a optional component. Okay, so and under divisions you can have a primary ledgers. Under primary ledgers you can have legal entities. Under legal entities, so business units. Under business units you can have inventory organization. Okay, this is
I have a question, Lakshman.
Yeah, please go ahead.
See, you're saying that we can only have one enterprise, right? Business group at the enterprise level.
Yes.
So what if I have two different enterprises in my system right now? It belongs to the same company, but the operation.
One point.
Like at the.
I got your point. I got it. See here, enterprise means it's all about they are referring as a client. One instance they'll be providing for one client. Okay, so for one specific client only they'll be giving. When they give it to specific client, they may have a different enterprises within that business, but within the instance you can represent as a one specific title. Under that, what are the businesses you are running, whatever you consider as enterprises, all the hierarchies you can maintain. Accordingly you can create the HR organizations, payroll definitions, and finance related definitions. And as a part of instance you can set up only one enterprise definition, nothing but the organization business name, okay, the group name. And under that you can within one instance you can go with the multiple projects also and the relevant definitions also. But since one instance will be provided to one client, so that client related information that would be treated as a one enterprise only. Okay, you take example Tata Group. Tata Group, see, when client is giving the instance, they'll be just providing to say for example Tata only. So for Tata, when you talk about Tata, they have a multiple and subsidiaries. Okay, TCS, Tata Telecommunications, all they have. So they are not going to create as enterprises. Just Oracle is giving the license or subscription to Tata Group. Just they'll be writing the name as enterprise name as a Tata Group. Under that, for TCS Business Solutions, they can define separately, and Tata Telecommunications they can define separately. This is how for each and every subsidiary or other entities or other enterprises what they have as within their business. For everything, they can do the configuration they can use in the system. Okay, so this is the point we have to understand when you talk about enterprise.
So one question, if there are in two countries, businesses in two countries, and they want different HRMS rules actually. So then in Artwell, I think you can create two BGs, but
Yeah.
you're saying it's only one HCM. So
No, not like that. One second. I'm not saying here, I'm not, that's what I said. I said the Fusion Enterprise is not equal to business unit. That is the first point we have to understand. The Fusion Enterprise is not equal to business unit. Okay, enterprise in the EBS business unit level, you can set all the controls and you can create country specific. But when you talk about enterprise in the Fusion, it's not country specific. It is instance level default HCM information you can set up. And within that instance, if you are going to run the business for 10 countries, separate HR organizations, payroll related organizations you can define separately. And what are the information you are setting at enterprise level that would get defaulted to those organizations, and you can override as per that country requirement. That is the point you have to understand. Okay.
Got it.
Yeah.
And these divisions are nothing but I think in Artwell we have departments. So is there any flexible qualifier that we are
Yeah, we
doing
have a departments concept in Fusion also. Okay, it's an additional unit definition. See, in EBS we don't have any some classification, right? When you are creating organization, you don't see some classification as a divisions, but here you have a just separate function they given as a divisions.
Yeah, so they can map this one to the flex field qualifier in GL, so that it will be recognized.
So no. See,
divisions.
it is not at all related to flex field. It's not at all related to flex field. It's related to like no, separate definition. So we see whatever we are
So
discussing
now
here. These are,
we have a company segment
yes.
in our flex in GL. That's how it will recognize.
Yeah. I got your point. Yes. See, if you are going to have a 5 divisions, okay, 5 divisions, you have to make sure that the same values as it is you are mapping into your division segment in the chart of accounts. Yes, you are right. If you are pointing. Okay. How many division values you are going to have as a part of your division segment in the chart of accounts? With the same values, we have to create the divisions as a part of enterprise structure. The mapping is required. You should do it. But reality, they won't connect. So if you are going to use this concept, that's how you have to manage.
Is it possible to give examples for the enterprise division, primary ledger, legal entity, business unit, and inventory for a multiple division and multiple legal entity example? Is it possible?
Yes. It's very simple. Say for example, we have a XYZ enterprise. Okay. So we have XYZ enterprise.
Can we take Tata as an example because it's easy to understand?
Yes. So Tata enterprise. So Tata got say 2 divisions. So one is you may treat as a TCS as a one division. Okay. Tata Telecommunications as another division. And for TCS, you can have separate primary ledger, and Tata Telecommunications you can have a separate uh, primary ledger. The rest will follow as it is. Under that, the legal entities and business units, this follows accordingly. So this you can call as TCS primary ledger. Okay, this is Tata Tele primary ledger. Under that, you can have the relevant how the organization information is managed. Okay, whether to run this, the TCS division. Okay, to run that, whether they have only one registration, then create only one primary ledger. If you have a two, create two and map with this. And as a part of TCS division, how many business units they have, how they are operating their business accordingly. You may have a 2, 3, or 4 business units, and just to support those business unit related operations for stock inflows or outflows, we'll have a inventory organizations. That's it.
So the 3 C's
have only one.
applies at the
Yeah.
Sorry, the 3 C's applies at primary ledger level or
Yeah, when you say 3 C's, you are referring setup books. Okay. SOB, which is there in the 11i. From release 12, we know like we have a primary ledger. Yes, 3 C's means here primary ledger level only. Along with that, we'll have one more C called as conversions, which is nothing but sub-ledger accounting. Okay.
under which case can we have multiple legal entity under a primary ledger? Which case? Because I've always seen one legal entity per ledger.
No,
I have always
that's
seen
all
like that,
about
maybe my life, but
that's all about registration of the company. Okay, how many registrations the organization have, those many legal entities we create. It's very simple. Each registration should be represented in the system as a legal entity. It's very simple. Okay.
okay, thank you.
Yep, fine. Any other questions, please?
Lakshman, I have a question.
Yep.
So, can you explain in more detail how we can accomplish, like if we have if we are operating in more than one country and we want to have different segregate their payroll and employee data and all that information. So since we cannot create multiple business groups, how we can do that using enterprise
See,
structure?
that's what I'm telling. By using enterprise, you are not going to do anything. Okay. By using the enterprise, you are going to set HCM related information. So as a part of HCM solution, for each country, you can create separate HR organizations and payroll definitions. So for example, so TCS USA, TCS India. If you take this case, say you have enterprise, okay, under enterprise you'll have a divisions and all. That is the other point here. So if you are going to run the business in two countries, India. So now for US and India, you'll be creating the separate HR organizations. So TCS USA will be creating two. TCS US will be creating the separate HR organizations, and for India, separate HR organization. The enterprise is the only one. Okay, within the enterprise as a part of HCM solution. So that doesn't comes under this hierarchy. The HCM solution doesn't comes under hierarchy of this what we discussed. What we are discussing, this is not related to division or anything. This is within the HCM HR organization you can create. And for payroll process, we have a concept called as payroll strata units. Okay, payroll strata unit, or you can call as LDG, LDG, legislative data group. Okay, for US will be creating USA legislative data group, and for India will be creating India legislative data group. Okay, so this is how just you can create NM for multiple countries, but the actual name you can give here as a, if it is only for TCS Tata means Tata. That's how you can just give the name. So when you say, for example, you are providing the job related job structure, position structure, and employee, how the employee creation should happen, all defaults will be providing at enterprise level, default information. So when you set the default, when you create the TCS USA HR organization, the defaults will be applicable for this HR organization. The same defaults are required for this TCS USA HR organization. So then we can accept as it is, or else here you can override. And for US India also, the same default system will take whatever we are setting at enterprise level. It will be defaulted to TCS India HR organization. Those the same we are going to use for the HR organization, HR operations, which you are going to have in India. You can accept or else you can override as per your requirement. The same applicable for LDG. LDG is nothing but here payroll process. Okay, legislative data group, which will represent country specific payroll. So whatever the defaults you are setting at enterprise level, so that will default to this LDG for USA and India. As per the country requirements, you can override. That's how you can have a solution within the HCM. Okay. So this is a point we have to understand. As part of structure, there is no design which we do for HCM related solution. Okay. So only you can just set up high level enterprise default information as a part of enterprise definition. Then the below definitions won't related to this HCM solution. So as a part of HCM product, you have to design the solution. How many HR organization, how many LDCs, depending on country only, we will be deciding how many LDCs are required. For each country, one. When you are creating also, you will be selecting the country. That's how we do it. Okay.
So I So when we are deciding if we need one BU for a company or we need more than one, is it based on just the current country we are doing implementation? Like if we are doing implementation in India and US, we need two because we want to pay the employees in foreign currency, something like that.
Seems to you don't have any basic idea about these things. So if see those we cannot discuss here from the scratch. These are not for a very beginning level of learners. So if you want to understand those points, we will share few videos. You can go through it. So that may be right way of working on it. So because those like see we cannot now we have to discuss all those things. So what base basis will be should be decided, primary ledgers and legal entities operate. Yeah, there is certain criteria. Okay, if you want to understand those points, we can provide some set of videos. You can go through it. Okay, though those it would be a bit difficult to discuss in these classes because most of the guys in the very beginning session also I informed like if you have a knowledge or experience on EBS, you can continue the classes, or else if you are attending these classes to learn from the scratch, it may not work. Okay, fine. So that's very important point. So we start discussing those
Okay.
now, it won't work. But to answer your question, see, operating nets are. Please mute from your end because I'm unmute. Just getting noise all the time. Please. So see, the business unit are same operating unit here. We are using the business unit. It's all about how you want to secure the data, how you want to control the transactional data. Based on that, you will decide business unit. For specific business, you can have a separate business unit, or else if you are running the same one business in the multiple locations, for each location you can segregate as a separate business unit. So if you go with a business unit or operating unit concept, what is the advantage? You can secure that specific operational data separately, and you can set a control on the data related process, and you will be able to generate the report separately. So based on that logical segregation of operating net, that may be physical, how you operate the business physically, you may map into a system as operating. Say you are running the business and you have a 10 branches. The 10 branches you can take as a 10 operating units or a 10 business unit. That is a one example. And other than that, you can have other logical segregations which will help you for a data segregation and transaction controlling and reporting aspects. Okay, we'll share the relevant videos which we have on EBS. So you may just go through it if you think that is required for you. Okay, then you can come to know all that. We just discuss very detailed level around. I think I taken 2 sessions on multi-org structure to explain different scenarios. In which scenario we'll go with the multiple primary ledgers, in which scenario like multiple operating units, everything we discuss very detailed level. So which will help you even to finalize the multi-org structure for any client implementation. Okay, I'll ask the team to share those videos. You may just go through it later. If you have any questions, definitely we can discuss those. Not an issue. Fine, done. So any questions here, please? To understand the enterprise structure, any questions from anyone, please?
That video you'll be passing to everybody or only
Yes. This video, okay. That video, if somebody is required, you can drop my email so that we'll be sharing. We have around set of 15 videos. Okay, initial like for beginner classes, so around set of 15 videos. Those we can share from EBS. Basically, that the course we have with 120 hours videos, 120 hours EBS financials. So and initial 15 videos will be sharing with you if you want. So you can go through it. You can get the basic level of understanding. Still, if you want to go through those, just we can discuss on that. Yeah, fine. If required, like if you want those initial the multi-org understanding and all those videos, you may just send me just mail on this rpt.com at the rate of gmail.com, so that will be sharing those. You may go through it. Fine. done. So any questions on this enterprise structure, please? Okay, done. So these are the points we have to understand when I talk about enterprise structure, and we have one more topic to discuss before we get into the application, that is FSG, Financial Functional Setup Manager. So see, the name itself, it represents the purpose of this concept. Functional Setup Manager means, okay, the functional setup, it's all about the functional configuration, the setup, okay, the functional related configuration. That's a part of implementation. What are the functional setups we do, all can be managed by using FSG. To just those can be managed, okay. So functional setup manager. So in Fusion applications, if you want to do the setups, so this is a place where we can do any configuration. If we talk about EBS, specific application relevant configuration you can do from respect to responsibility only. You want to do FA configuration, you have to be in the FA responsibility. Or else if you want to do GL configuration, you have to be part of GL responsibility. Here we don't have any responsibility concept, we have a roles concept. So here we have single role which will give the provision to do any application related configuration. The role already we discussed as a part of implementation user related roles. The role is application implementation consultant. Okay, so let me write here. So if you want to have access to FSM, functional setup manager, to do implementation related configuration, we require role called as application implementation consultant. If you assign this role to any user, that user can get connected to FSM. Okay, what is the use of FSM? And again, when you talk about FSM, few terms also we have to understand. So we know very well, like we have a different product families as a part of our Oracle applications. Those are, say, financials, and say SCM, and HRMS. Sorry, there was some network issue. It got. I think now still the same issue. One second, please.
We are not.
1 second. 1 second. Okay, now it should be fine. Okay, sorry, there was some network issue. It got reconnected. So hope now you can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, fine, great, fine. So when I talk about functional setup manager, we have to understand few terms here. What naming convention we have for the respective area. I mean, of the points which we come across in the FSM. So we know very well these are the different product families: financials, SCM, HRMS, okay, projects, okay, so CRM. They are the different product families which you see in EBS. The same product families in Fusion applications as a part of FSM, functional setup manager, we call as offerings. Financials we call as offering, the SCM we call as offering, and everything we call as offering. HRMS, projects, CRM. These all we call as offerings. Okay. So as per FSM, functional setup manager, okay, from where we do the setups, these all we call as offerings. These all are, say, 5 offerings we have. So when you are taking the subscription from Oracle, we go offering base. Okay, you may just subscribe offering called as financials. Within the financials, we have a different applications. Let's list out here. When I talk about financials, say we have a GL, AP, ER, CM, and FA. So these are the different applications we have as a part of financials product family. In the fusion, the same we are calling as offering. That means within the financials offering, we have these applications. These are the applications, or you can call as modules, right? But as for FSM, these are all we call as options. Within the financial offering, these are the different options. GL is one option. Okay, AP is one option. All these we call as options. Say within the financials, we have 5 options. Now, when you subscribe this Fusion application from Oracle, we basically subscribe offering. Within the offering, what are the options we required, we can select. So you are going to implement for your client only GL, AP and AR. That means we have to subscribe financial offering. Within that, we have to opt 3 options. Okay, so this is a naming convention we have to use. Here we have to understand what is the meaning of offering and option. Offering represents the primary business process. The primary business process, this finance related or SCM, it's nothing but specific product family as per EBS. So these all we call as different offerings. In the same way, we have many other offerings. And when I talk about option, it's nothing but specific application. Okay, specific application we call as option. So within these options, we'll have a features. Okay, within this application, when I talk about GL, in the GL we have a multiple features. In the same way, AP, AR, CM, FA, here we can have a different features. That's so offering, within the offering options, every option will have a set of features. Okay, so which will be targeting specific functions. The features will have some connectivity with the specific functions or specific just object defined definitions. Okay, so just we have to understand here offering and option. What is the meaning of offering and option? Okay, offering is nothing but specific product family, and option is nothing but specific module or say application. So this is what we have to understand. When you assign application implementation consultant role to any user, that user will get access to FSM, and through FSM, any user who has access to FSM, they can have access to all the offerings and options. In the fresh instance, what we have to do is, for based on the project scope, what are the project we are going to implement, based on the project scope, for which offerings and options our client subscribed, our client taken the subscription, based on that we have to enable. Take simple example, in EBS you want to create the primary ledger, or say if it is 11i setup books. Before you go and create the setup books or primary ledger, what we have to do, we have to complete certain definitions. Say we create calendar, we create chart of accounts. So along with that, we have to enable the currency. If you don't enable the currency, can we create setup books or primary ledger? No. If you don't enable the currency at the time of setup books creation or primary ledger creation, we don't find that required currency. So you are going to create primary ledger for US. If you are creating the primary ledger for US, you have to enable USD currency. If you don't enable at the time of primary ledger creation, from LOV you don't find USD. So that means by selecting USD you cannot create the primary ledger. In the same way, so here what happens is, if you want to do any setups, if you want to do any complete implementation related setups, we have to create the project. In Fusion, we have to create implementation project. Implementation project creation is mandatory. Why, we'll discuss, but just as a point, try to understand. So if you want to do any setups, okay, so because see, when you talk about setups in the instance, many setups you can do without project also, but the key setups cannot do without project, implementation project. That is the reason the implementation project creation is mandatory in Fusion applications. If you are going to work on EBS, there is no concept called as project creation. Straight away you will go and create the responsibilities, you create user, you assign, you will be setting the profile options, and then we'll start doing the module specific configuration. Then you can just create multiple users and you can allow the users to work on the system. But in the Fusion, if you want to do the configuration as an implementation consultant without implementation project creation, you cannot complete all the setups. That is the reason project is mandatory. Okay, so you are creating the project. When you are creating the project, which offerings and options you are going to implement, you have to select. Okay, when you are creating the project, what you have to do, you have to select offerings and options. Of course, within the options you may select features also. For few applications, future selection is also applicable, but that is not a very important point. Just let's try to understand these two terms. Okay, so in the Fusion applications, without creating the project, you cannot complete all the setups. That is the reason you can say implementation project creation is mandatory in the Fusion application to start with your configuration. And how to, when you are creating implementation project, which offerings and options we are going to implement for our client, we have to select. If you want to select the offerings or options into your implementation project, it is mandatory you have to enable those offerings and options. First, what we have to do, we have to enable, okay, offerings and options. What are the offerings and options you are enabling? Those only you can select as a part of implementation project. The same as currency. So you may have multiple currencies. So like currencies are seeded values. In any instance, in the first instance or any instance, currency values you can see as a seeded. So when you create the primary ledger or any ledger, you can go and select the currency if the currency is enabled. Otherwise, currency may be available within the instance. If it is not enabled, that won't be available to select at the time of primary ledger creation. In the same way, in your instance, there may be these all offerings and options, many options, okay, which are related to specific offering. But at the time of implementation project, if you want to select any offering or option, the offerings or options should be enabled by the time, then only you can select for your project definition. That is the reason in the first instance what we have to do is, the very first step is we have to enable offerings and options. There could be many offerings and options which are available within your instance. Okay, even there may be some offerings which are not subscribed by your client. I'll take you through that, how to identify, okay, how to see that with the, by filtering that information. I'll take you through that. But by default you could see many offerings in the instance even your client is not subscribed, but by filtering which are subscribed, not subscribed, easily you can find out. So in that case what we have to do is, which offerings and options our client is subscribed, we have to enable first. After that we have to create the project. As a part of project creation, you have to select those offerings and options. By selecting offerings and options, okay, when you create the project, what system will do is, system creates task list. Task list is nothing but list of setups which need to be performed. Say for example, you selected offering called as financials and you selected options as this 5. So in that case what system will do is, system will create the task list. Task list is nothing but list of setups. So to implement GL, AP, AR, all these applications, what setups we do generally in the EBS, the similar setups, the same setups it will list out. That only we call as a task list. Okay, when you talk about implementation project here, don't compare this project with our Oracle project accounting applications. So in Oracle EBS we have a project accounting which allows us to track how much cost we are incurring, how much billing we are doing, the billing related information related to project billing. But what is this project all about it? So with the project accounting, you can track the cost and you can do the billing to the customer. That is the functionality of project accounting. Like project accounting means two modules primarily, costing, billing, and along with that, as a part of project suite, we have many other applications. But here when you talk about project, since we are using the term called as project, okay, here what we have to understand is, with this project definition, what we can do is we can track setups progress. Okay, so with this project, okay, in the Fusion, you can track the progress of the setups. Before you go and track the setups, what you can do is you can assign the project to specific person. Say for example, within the project definition, you selected all these offerings. Now what we can do is you can assign financials to one consultant, SCM to one consultant, HRMS to one consultant, project CRM. This is how you can assign, and or else specific offering you can assign to specific resource, or else within the AP you can assign to 2 or 3 resource. Within the AP you may find say 20 setups, 10 setups to one consultant, 10 setups to another consultant. And once the consultants will start working on the project, they can update the status. The 5 setups are completed, 2 setups we are working on, okay, and 2 setups are not yet started working. This is how the consultants will be working on the project. They'll be able to update the status against the setups which they are doing. Here the point we have to understand. So first we have to enable the offerings and options. Then we create the project. As a part of project creation, you can select offerings and options. By selecting offerings and options, whenever we create the project, system will create task list. Task list is nothing but list of setups. It will create. After creating, you can assign specific offering or option or specific tasks or list of tasks to specific team member. Then what they can do, once they start working, say one consultant started working on financials, then they can go to the financials, they can update the status as work in progress. That means by seeing that project within the instance, we can understand, okay, financial setups, okay, somebody started working on. We can see that, and out of that financial, say 20 tasks are completed, 20 setups are completed, they can update the status. So we can assign the offerings or options or tasks, a specific task also to team member. So what team members they can do, we can update the status of task, maybe one particular task or multiple tasks or particular option or particular offering. One consultant completed SCM related setups, they can just update the status as SCM is completed, where they can update within the project. Okay, so that we can easily track the status of setups against the project. That means what we have to understand, so by creating the project, you can track the progress of system configuration. That's it. You can track the progress of system configuration. That is the primary purpose why we create the project. So assigning resource to, say, assign offering or option or task to, okay, team members. We can assign offering or option or task to team members. They can update the status and you can track the progress of status. These all are not mandatory, optional. If you want to assign, they can update the status so that you can understand the progress. You may use it, may not use it, still you have to create the project. If you don't create, system won't create the task list. If no task list, you cannot do the setups as a part of project. And other important point is, so there are certain setups which you can perform only within the project. If there is no project, you cannot do those setups. So what are those setups, how we can identify, that also we'll discuss once we start working on the project creation and So project related setup configuration, project related setups. So at that time we'll discuss, but here you have to understand these points. With the help of FSM, okay, we can enable the offerings and options, we can create the projects, and at the time of project creation we can select offerings and options. And whenever you create the project by selecting offerings and options, system will create the task list, so that the same task list or specific task or offering or option we can assign to team members, so that based on the assignment they'll start working on the project. They can update the status, they can start updating the status, whether they started working on, they completed or in progress, so that the overall project status can be, okay, tracked. So that's how we can use it. And another important I mean, what I can say is other additional purposes why we require this FSM is, so this is the one point which are related to projects you can manage within the FSM to do the system related configuration, as well as to track the progress of the setups. Apart from that, the other advantages are you can move the setups from one instance to another instance with the help of FSM. We have a concept called as configuration packages. Okay, with this package what we can do is you can move setups from, okay, setups to other instance. That means one to other instance. Move setups to other instance. Say you are doing the setups in the test instance. The test instance related setups you want to move to production. Only setups. So within the FSM we have a one feature called as configuration packages. By using the configuration packages, you can extract all the setups and system will create the file. The file you can import in the targeted instance with the help of configuration packages. That means simply you can say, with the help of configuration packages we can move the setups from one instance to another instance. That's purely functional task. We don't need DBA, we don't need technical people. It's a very simple task. Just I'll take you through the process how that can be executed. Okay, so apart from that, the setup related reports also you can generate. Okay, setup related reports, you can run the report against the project. It will give you the information. So for your entire implementation project, say you have 1,000 tasks, out of 1,000 400 tasks are completed, 300 are completed, say 200 tasks not yet started, and remaining all are in progress. And this is how just you will be able to generate the reports for finance separately, for different offerings and options. You will be just, you by looking at project you can understand the progress. There will be graphical representation also, you'll see the same in the system. Apart from that, you will be able to generate the reports also, which will give you the information related to the progress of the project. And apart from this, from FSM you can perform the rapid implementation also. Okay, so simply we call as RI. We'll have a spreadsheets. Okay, in this rapid implementation we'll have a spreadsheets. So you can just enter the data within this spreadsheet. Say for example, you can just go and enter your chart of account, how many segments you need, which values you need, with what name you need primary ledger, and how many business units you require, nothing but operating needs, how many legal entities you require, all you can provide in the spreadsheet. The spreadsheet you can load into the instance. Automatically system will create calendars, chart of accounts, primary ledgers, legal entities, and business units. That means just setup related information you can provide in the spreadsheet that can be loaded into the system, okay, by using the rapid implementation approach. Okay, in our classes we'll see how to create these calendars, chart of accounts, primary ledger, legal entities, business units through manual process, as well as how to use the rapid implementation spreadsheets to load the setup data into system. We'll go through these two aspects of learning. Okay, so these are the few points which you have to understand when you talk about functional setup manager. Primarily this is for project definition. Without project, you cannot complete all the setups. Along with the project, we can move the setups from one instance to another instance from FSM only, and you can generate the setup related data related reports you can generate, and you can perform the rapid implementation also from FSM only. Okay, so what we'll do is, in the next session we'll see how to create our own user, then we can start working on FSM. Any questions from anyone, please?
Before enabling the offerings and options, which is the first step, before that itself, we are subscribing for GL API or any module, and only after subscription we are enabling them, or through enabling only we are getting subscription.
So when you subscribe, then only Oracle will provide the instance. Subscription means you are taking that, you are paying and you are getting. You paid for what? That is subscription here.
Okay, so they are not auto enabled. We have to manually enable them.
Yeah, you have to enable. Yes, exactly.
Okay, that is one thing. Second question is with regard to the instances you mentioned for SaaS, PaaS, and IaaS. Apart from production instance, how many instances do they provide for test and QA? Is it one each?
We get two instances, what we call as pre-prod and prod. The pre-prod, what we call, you can consider as a test instance, QA. Two instance only by default in cloud, you get as a part of subscription. If you need more than two, there will be additional charges. They'll provide, but they'll charge extra.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Isn't that will that not be a task automatically, or will that be divide or apart from the task, separate from the task?
No, I didn't get you. What is your question?
So we have to create a project, and under project we have offerings and options. Only so if we are doing the rapid implementation part, it is only after we create a task we have to do the rapid implementation part, or how?
No. Rapid implementation without project also you can create. But to access those setups through rapid implementation, what you are creating, if you want to go and see, if you want to go and do the modification, if you want to do the rest of setups, which will have a dependency for this rapid implementation related configuration, you require project. Just you can create, but if you want to access all those and if you want to do some required changes, okay, some assignments, etc., you need project. But without creating the project, you can perform rapid implementation. After performing the rapid implementation, then you can go and create the project. Through that project, you can access to this rapid implementation based setups. To perform the rapid implementation related configuration, means spreadsheet loading process, implementation project is not mandatory. Okay, but just rapid implementation you cannot do for everything. For specific area of the configuration only, we have a rapid implementation solution. Okay, that's how it works. Yeah. So any other questions here, please?
One question. I know the subscription is based on the user.
Yeah,
Is there any limitation on the data storage?
Can you be a bit loud, please?
Hello?
Yeah, now it's fine.
The subscription, is there any limitation?
No, your voice is breaking.
Is there any limitation on the storage space for the subscription?
Storage space, by default, there no limitation. Like it's just all about user-based subscription only will be getting. The storage for the specific offering and transactional data, there is no limitation. User-based subscription only, not the storage-based subscription we get here. So if you are subscribing financial, there may be large volume of the transactions, so there won't be any issue with that. So how many user subscription you are taking, based on that you can go with your own volume of transaction volume. So any other questions here, please?
Yeah. So if when we assign the offering and options, and if we don't assign the team members, can team members still go and update the status, or do we have to assign the team members to the
Not mandatory.
offering or
Not mandatory. See here, these tasks are not mandatory. So assigning team member to task, offering options and updating and all. Yes, as you asked the question, if you don't assign, still team members can go and update. Yes, the project status they can update even if their name is not assigned to offering or options, or if others name is assigned to that specific area, or else if even nothing is, no name is assigned to specific offering or option or task, still anyone can go and update the status.
okay? And who can create the implementation project? Usually in cloud implementation, is it the project manager or the consultant, or
Yeah,
like
when you
usually?
talk about implementation project, normally any consultant can create. Say for example, the project scope is financials and SCM and HCM. So when we know this point, it's very easy for anyone to go and create it. What we have to do is these three offerings and relevant options we have to enable. Just go and create the project. When we are creating the project, we have to assign the project to any one of the user. Ideally, that you, if you create project manager within the instance, okay, if the project manager also going to have access to the instance, if they have idea about these applications and all, you may assign the project, or else for any one of the consultant you can assign the project. Just project creation time, the assignment is mandatory. Basically, from which user you create that project, the project will get associated with that user only. Later you can override. Anyone can create a project. It's not like more project management and all. It's just a simple definition. You can create project and you can delete. Again, you can create. There won't be an issue.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
And when we move the setups from one instance to another using the configuration package, so can we see the before and after, like let's say we are moving from the test to production instance, so can we see the setups in the test and the production so we can reconcile after it moves to the next instance?
Yes, yes. See, the
Since we have
moving status from test to production means just you are taking the copy into some, some files you are extracting, then you can load over there. Once you just done that, if you want to just do some comparison and all, see, there won't be any option like where you can keep the two environments and all. If you think some, normally it's a recommended, only if when we are extract, when you are loading, if anything wrong, some dependency is missing or something is missing in the loading process, it will give you some warning or some error message and all. Based on that, you can find if the loading process is going to be very smooth, like it will through, in the sense you can think like everything went well. Okay, in the loading process, if you come across some issue or warning, then you can identify. Ideally, like this, very standardized the package solution they are providing. Normally, there won't be an issue when you take in one instance, when you load in the other instance. But comparison, you cannot do it. For that, we don't have any option. So manually, you may go and compare if you want to verify certain things are moved or not, or few things you may verify. Then you can think, okay, hope rest also went well. That's how you should have assumption. That's all. We don't have separate option to cross check between the two environments.
so when I extract the data, I can just then decide not to move it to the other instance, but I still have that extract file, right? I can
Sorry.
still use that as.
When we extract.
So when let's say we extracted the data, but then we changed our mind about moving it to next instance, so we still can save that file.
Yes, see, it's very simple. You can extract and you can download that file into your desktop. Okay, and if you don't want to upload in the other instance, you can ignore it.
Okay.
It will generate the GIF file.
And one last, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, no, no.
generate the zip file?
Yeah, zip file. System will generate zip file that you can save. If you want to upload into other instance, do it. Otherwise, there won't be an issue. Yeah, please go ahead.
And one last question.
Yeah.
For the rapid implementation, does system provide the standard spreadsheets like we can just download, or do we need to create spreadsheet in certain cases and other cases system provide?
Now, Oracle is providing that seeded spreadsheets, the very well formatted sheets. We don't need to create anything. We are going to create, so it will become big task and challenging validation issues and all. So all you can find within the instance only. I'll take you through the process from where you can find within the instance how to download, how to provide the data, how to convert those into CSV files, how to load into the system, how to verify. I'll take you through the complete process.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Fine. Any other questions from anyone, please?
So these offerings and options we can enable and disable anytime, right? For example, initially we forgot one offering, later we can enable, right?
Yes. Anytime you can enable. Say you enable all the offerings and you create a project by selecting all. Later, if you are going to disable no use, already you enabled and selected and project is created. Even if you disable, there's no use. You can do that. Anything you can do any point of time.
Okay.
Yeah. So any questions from anyone, please? Fine. So no questions. We'll connect tomorrow. In tomorrow's session, we'll start with the system.